Hi, friends. I'm Amanda, the Human Thrive Coach, and this is the Human Thrive podcast where we guide you from self acceptance to soul purpose. So, today we're diving into a topic that shapes everything in your life, the difference between your ego and your higher self. So, ego versus higher self. If you've ever felt torn between the voice that says you're not good enough and the one that whispers you are already enough, then this episode is for you. Maybe you don't even have the second voice, you're already enough. Maybe you never have that one. Maybe you only ever hear the voice telling you that you're not good enough. So, understanding the ego. What is the ego? When people talk about it, they think it's arrogance. They don't, and maybe not sure exactly what it is, but the ego isn't evil. It's not just as arrogance. It's protective. So, it's a survival system wired to keep us safe. So, as I've said before, the brain is only designed to keep us surviving. It's not worried about our contentment. It's not worried about our personal development and our growth. But we've evolved humans past that and we want to achieve more. So the ego shows up as fear, comparison, perfectionism, people pleasing. It shows up like your ego would say, oh, don't bother applying for that job. You're not going to get it. You're not good enough. The ego might say, if you say no, they won't like you. So you end up people pleasing. And that might be your ego talking. So your ego is keeping you small. But it's doing it to keep you protected, to stop you going outside your comfort zone. It's not doing it because it wants to harm you or it's vicious. It's doing it to protect you. But we also have this higher self, the higher self that's calm and wise, loving, expansive. It knows your worth is innate and you are enough just as you are. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to do people please just to be loved. That you don't need to listen to them other voices and them other things. But we grow up from this ego, driven from this ego, and not our higher self, that we're the spiritual being that has a higher self. And the higher self would say that you're already enough, that you can achieve challenges and challenges are here to help you grow. So it's like, imagine tuning into your radio station. You've got Ego FM, Higher Self FM. Which vibration are you tuned into? So when you're tuned into your ego constantly, you're going to be just complaining about the environment. You're very much at the lower level of vibration, that you're in your body and not your higher spiritual self. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So you can tune into different frequencies. This is all about energy, this episode. It's energy and frequencies that we are made up of energies and we can tune into. And so how to recognize the difference between your ego and your higher self. What we want to achieve in life, what should we be aiming to achieve, is to live in our higher self. Probably impossible to be there all the time, but we can try. And the more we practice it, the more we can realize when we're working from our ego and when we're slipping into our ego, we can overcome that and go back into thinking from our higher self. So our higher self, it's calm, it's grounded, it's compassionate. The ego feels urgent, heavy, critical. So how do we recognize the difference? So we can ask ourselves, is this voice coming from fear or love? So the voice that's holding you back from doing things because it's telling you you're not good enough or you're going to fail or you just can't do this, you're not going to do it. That's your ego. It's trying to keep you safe. But when we tell it, our brain, it's okay. I know you're scared and you're trying to warn me, but it's okay. I've got this. Thank you for keeping me safe. We can listen to our higher self that tells us that we are good enough, that we have all the resources we need, that we can do this, that this is growth and we can do it. So unfortunately, the ego can be louder than the higher self. Say the higher self kind of whispers, whereas the ego shouts. So we need to quieten the ego. So how do we do this? So practices to align with your higher self would be any kind of breathing technique, journaling, meditation. So if we do 3 breaths, whatever kind of breathing technique you like. Alternate nostril breathing, some like square breathing. So you want to breathe, inhale, and then you want to lengthen your exhale and make it longer each time. So you do 3 breaths and ask, what would my higher self choose right now? So journaling about your ego and your higher self dialogue. This is quite complex. I think I'm going to have to do another episode on this. But practice to align with your higher self. Ask yourself, what would my higher self choose right now? If something's holding you back or you've got fear, say, thank you, brain, for keeping me safe. I'm going to ask my higher self what I should do in this now. And if you think about the movie, The Labyrinth, have you seen The Labyrinth? Sarah's getting distracted by all these things and they're all material things and all what's important. And then she realizes at the end, you have no power over me. You have no power over me. Because that ego wants to protect you and not just giving you all the distractions and all the stuff, trying to keep you stuck at this level of where you are. But your higher self wants you to grow. So every moment you choose, you want to be in your higher self. When we find ourselves complaining about things or getting annoyed at others, that's our ego, and we need to try and just, we're not going to be able to do this all the time. It's very hard to do, but we can practice it and we can become aware and then go, okay, this is ego. Let's stop. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you, ego, for trying to keep me safe. I've got this. I want to grow. I'm going to listen to my higher self. I'm going to choose what they want me to do. So our mantra, if you like them, or affirmations. I choose to live for my higher self. Love, truth, and presence guide me. That was quite a deep episode for being a very short one, and it's maybe not even that clear. It is quite deep. But I'm going to talk about that in my Human Thrive course, and I think, if you want to know more about that, send me a text, send me a message. And I'm going to teach you how to recognize your ego, your higher self, how to tune into the higher self more, and some practices, and explain more about, what it all means. So if this episode meant anything to you and you want to know more, send me a message. Let me know if you want to join the waiting list for my Human Thrive 7-step course, Self-Acceptance to Soul Purpose, where we'll explore this in a lot more depth and do some group work on it. Right now, just think your ego is that thing that's holding you back. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to protect you. But it's also holding you back, and you think you're listening to your gut feeling saying, oh no, don't do this. But sometimes it's the ego, and it doesn't want to be seen. It wants to be like it wants you to listen to it. Basically, it wants you to listen to it. Like in Jared in the Labyrinth. It's distracting Sarah, giving her all these things, but like, listen to this. But she realizes that is all meaningless. She's got a higher self that she can listen to, and she realizes that she can say, you have no power over me. And then it just goes. You don't have that power over me. I can choose my higher self. And in this moment, I'm going to choose my higher self. When you live in your vibration of your higher self, then you don't hold yourself back in life. You don't, and you encourage others, and you're more, I suppose, more in tune with your deeper self, and not just the superficial outside body, that the more of the spiritual side of you. So your ego wants to protect you, but your higher self wants you to grow. And every moment you choose is important. Every moment you choose to live in your higher self. So I choose to live for my higher self. Love, truth, and presence guide me. And I'm going to leave it there. So thank you for listening, and look after yourself and keep practicing techniques. Thank you for listening. Bye.